It is such a pleasure to have you here with us today, Mr. Randy Carroll.
It's good to be here.
How are you?
I'm doing good, but I look kind of washed out, don't I? Let me turn the light a little different.
Okay.
There you go. I'm not as washed out now, maybe. I'm doing good. Life is good. It's busy. It's back to craziness after what was really, I found out, a nice slowdown during COVID.
Yeah, you are not kidding me. And then you just got married recently to beautiful Robin.
Yeah, I got married a year ago in October.
I love it. I love it. Well, tell us who you are and tell us where you're from.
Well, my name's Randy Carroll. I am a radio personality, DJ, whatever, we get called all kinds of different things, radio personality, air personality. I don't know. I was born in Corpus Christi, Texas. When I was 14 years old, we moved to the thriving metropolis of Pleasanton, just south of San Antonio. And that's where I accidentally fell into the radio broadcasting business. When I was in high school looking for part-time jobs, one of the teachers said, hey, they need somebody to run errands down at the little radio station in town. So I went down there and went to work for $5 an hour, just doing whatever they needed done around there. And just one thing led to another and made a career out of it.
Now, how long have you been doing this?
Well, they'll give away my age, but that's not that big a deal. Let's just put it this way. I've been at KJ97 for this November will be 39 years.
39.
Which doesn't happen very often in radio broadcasting. It's an entertainment business, so it's notoriously not stable.
And how do you think you manage that? I mean, that's tremendous. I remember them celebrating 25 years, you being there 25 years, and that seemed just like yesterday.
Yeah, I got a plaque right on the wall somewhere in here. It says 25 years. Yeah, I think there are a lot of things for it. Number one, I think it's God's blessing. I think, he takes care of those of us who are not good at taking care of ourselves. That's probably me. So I give God credit for that. Also maybe just some good luck,
That isn't
great city, with great people, and they're loyal, and I think that helps too.
You are a local celebrity. I mean, people do look at you as our celebrity here in San Antonio, and you also kind of made your stardom as well with a song.
I did this song called San Antonio Christmas, and it actually is a song called Tender Tennessee Christmas. It was written by Amy Grant and her first husband, Gary Chapman. Gary's always been one of my favorite songwriters. And I was just looking for a bit to play on the radio around Christmas, something in it. And I thought, it rhythmically works to say San Antonio Christmas instead of Tender Tennessee Christmas. And so I did that. And I went in the studio with Michael and Ron Morales here, and they have the Studio M over on West Avenue. In fact, this was the first thing that was ever recorded in Studio M. And I don't even remember the year this was. It's a long time ago, though. And we went in and recorded, laid down the tracks. And actually, before I recorded my vocal, the first version of the song we did with Rick Trevino.
Oh, wow.
Who was a new artist and doing well at that time. And so Michael and I drove up to Austin with a recording, ADAT, I think it was an ADAT recording machine. And we recorded Rick's vocals and in a studio up there, brought it back. And then, with much pain, laid down my vocals and they put it all together, and we started playing it on the radio. Just, we just play for a few times, and ended up becoming something that got a lot of airplay through the years. And eventually some program director along the way said, well, let's just play a version with just you. And so that's kind of where that thing came about.
You know what? Honestly, I only know the song that way. I've never heard it. I mean, when I've heard it as the other version or the original version, I don't even recognize it. It's San Antonio Christmas.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. It's interesting when if you go to like Spotify and search Tender Tennessee Christmas, it's been recorded by tons of artists. It's on everybody's Christmas album. In fact, I think Rick Cavender is doing a Christmas album. And I ran into him the other night and he said, I'm doing San Antonio Christmas. Do you mind? I said, no, I don't mind. It's not my song. You have to ask Amy Grant and Gary Chapman.
I love it. It's so funny. Yeah, that's just incredible. Every year. Well, that's all you hear on our KJ97 here in San Antonio. So yeah, I love it. I love it. That's Christmas.
You know, probably my favorite San Antonio Christmas story was, this would have been, I don't know if it was probably the first Gulf War, or I don't know. It's one of these deals in the Mideast. And I would get, around Christmas time, I would get emails from our service people who would be serving over there away from their families for Christmas. And they would pull that song up and listen to it because it brought them back to home during the holidays. And that, to me, that was probably the coolest thing about that song, is that it connected with people and brought them home to San Antonio for the holidays.
Oh, that gives me goosebumps.
It did. Gave me goosebumps, and I shed a few tears probably.
Oh, it's so beautiful. You've done so many things. You've met so many stars. And you're a CMA winner. You're a ACM Award winner. Tell us what that experience was like.
Man, winning those awards, you know, and if you grow up like I did, a fan of country music, and every time the CMAs or the ACMs were on, you were in front of the TV watching. And so, you know, I remember the first time I went to the CMA Awards, I think Vince Gill was hosting. You know, I'm up in the balcony there they were still doing it over at Opryland over there, and at the Opry House. And I remember just sitting there going, oh, wow, man, I can't believe I'm here, where all that history has happened and where I used to watch this on TV. And then to go and like win one of those trophies, you know, for radio, which is, in fact,
you'll have to see the YouTube video to see this amazing trophy.
Here's the embarrassing thing. I don't know if you can see it right there, but the tip of it broke off somehow in one of my moves.
Anyway. No.
Anyways,
it's still gorgeous.
And there's this is real heavy too. This is the Academy of Country Music Award.
Oh my God.
Broadcasting. Anyway, so those are cool.
You'll have to see the YouTube video to our listeners if they want to see the actual.
Anyway, yeah, but there's nothing like that when you go and you get to sit down, you know, on the floor of the award show with the famous people. You know, you look down the aisle and there's like Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman and people like that. It's like, oh man, it's fancy. How did I get here?
I love it. That's incredible. So what does your day look like?
What does my day look like? My day's changed a lot here in the past couple of years, because I've changed my time slot. You know, for years I was doing early morning radio and was up at 3:30 every morning, which everybody always says, oh, but you get used to it, right? No, not me. It's not natural. There's nothing natural about getting up at 3:30 in the morning. But my day now is a lot different. I work afternoon drive, 3 to 7 p.m. You know, so I get up in the mornings and, you know, help get everybody started around the house. I've got a 14-year-old now, and get him off to school, or help get him ready and off to school. Sometimes I cook breakfast and do those kind of things, but get that stuff, then do other things around the house, things you gotta get done. And then I go in the afternoon about 1 to 1:30 and get out of work about 7. So that's kind of my day. And then there's usually a kids sports game or practice that we need to go to. There's always lots going on.
And I also see you have a new family member coming.
Yeah, we got a new puppy coming.
What kind of dog is it?
My wife's been trying to talk me into it the whole time we've been married, and she really wanted a pocket beagle. So I started doing research on pocket beagles, and I found this breeder. And I know somebody's going to be offended by that, but you'll get over it. I found this breeder that is really good and ethical. They breed these pups for their health. They're not breeding just to get the best selling colors or what like some people do to try to sell. And was really impressed with them. Impressed with the fact that they spent probably an hour trying to talk us out of getting a dog to make sure that we really knew what we were getting into and the responsibility of it. And so that was important to me. And anyway, so we're picking this little pup up, little girl, in a couple of weeks.
Oh, it's so precious. I saw it on Facebook. I can't wait to see the adventures.
And I figure it's a dog that I can probably hunt with too. These little beagles, they love sniffing things out, and that's their thing, fetching. So I'll probably, this be my bird hunting girl.
I love it. So back to the music. So I've sat down with you before eating at Whataburger, and you just had some incredible stories with some of these superstars. What's been one of your favorite memories?
Oh man, I have so many. Somebody told me the other day, Randy, you need to write all this stuff down, write a book.
Yeah.
But God, it's hard to pick one. If you go back in the day when I was a punk kid, I have some, I had some experiences with George Jones and Waylon Jennings. I'll tell my Waylon Jennings story. Can you say the word ass?
You just did, so you're fine.
On a podcast. Anyway, we were at the the rodeo gala, and Waylon was performing, and his wife Jessie Coulter was with him, and we were trading off with another radio station in town doing the introductions. And it was the other station's turn to introduce Waylon, and so the DJs are up there and they're talking, and ladies and gentlemen, they're about to introduce, and all of a sudden the stage director goes, "Stop, stretch. We got to wait. We get something, fix something, before you bring Waylon on." So the DJ, a friend of mine, is actually Pam Tyler, and she starts ad-libbing, and she says, Jessie Coulter, Waylon's wife, is here tonight. And by this time, Waylon and Jessie are standing right behind me. And she says, "Jessie Coulter has the most beautiful smile you've ever seen." And Waylon yells at the top of his lungs, "You ought to see her ass."
Oh my God.
And I about fell over. And if anybody knows Waylon Jennings, that was classic Waylon Jennings right there. He would deliver that. And, of course, Jessie kind of hit him a little bit, but she was used to dealing with this stuff like that.
Oh my
Anyway,
God.
that's my favorite Waylon Jennings story.
Wow. That's incredible. I love it. Oh my gosh. So long ago. I remember you had a story, Faith Hill.
I don't know if I want to tell on Faith on that.
Okay.
When Faith came on a radio tour, early 90s, and the radio station was over on Interstate 10. They're just inside 410. And so we'd always take everybody, the artists that come through, they always wanted to eat Mexican food when they're in San Antonio. So we'd go to La Fogata right there on Vance Jackson. So we went to lunch with Faith, as another person from the radio station, and a couple of people from her label. And we started drinking those high-powered margaritas that they have over there. And it got a little bit out of hand. And anyway, we were discussing passing gas. And that's all I'm going to say about that
Gotcha.
at the possibility that Faith might actually see that. So, yeah. Anyway.
So with what you do and, just connecting with all these stars, do you ever get imposter syndrome? Like, do you ever like want to, what am I doing here?
Oh, yeah, that happens a lot. The biggest example to me, one year was at the CMA Awards, and I don't know how we finagled our way into this after party. And we're in this party, and it is like the who's freaking who of music, not just country.
Oh,
John Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora were there. They're standing right here to my right, and to my left is George Strait and his wife and his family, and and just all over that place is people in the music business. And I'm just like, man, they're gonna find out and throw me out. I don't belong here. But it was cool. I mean, it's cool to to have those experiences like that, especially growing up with the love of music like I have.
Yeah, it's been an incredible journey. I remember it was before I lived in San Antonio. I was just probably, oh my gosh, I don't know. I must have been like 9, 10, maybe 10, 11 years old. And my father loved you. He has been a big fan of you for years. And our station could never be changed to anything other than KJ97. And it had to be country, And I remember Janie Fricke was actually performing somewhere in San Antonio, and you had picked her up from the airport, and you had like real curly hair.
Mm-hmm.
And we got pictures with you, and I don't know if we even have those pictures anymore. But
man,
yeah, so
I'd completely forgotten about that Janie Fricke deal.
Oh my gosh,
that's crazy.
That's years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. I posted a picture the other day with Reba McEntire and I from the 80s. I think I was about 26, maybe 26 years old.
What was it like meeting her?
I mean, when you first meet somebody like Reba, she was still fairly new, in the music industry, and then, I think I probably have 4 decades of pictures with her, from different things through the years. Probably my favorite Reba story is I went to LA one time when she was filming the Reba show, and we went over to the studio and watched rehearsals for the Reba show, and went back to her dressing room to do an interview. And she didn't remember me, from all the people she had met. And so I just was kind of playing the dumb guy in the interview. And I told her, and I had a cowboy hat on and everything. And I said, hey, listen, I hear there's a place out in Los Angeles where all the cowboys go. And I'm thinking I want to go there because they probably got some Western wear stores, and you probably have a hunting and fishing shop and places like that. And she's looking at me, and I said, it's got to be because it's called Rodeo Drive. And she looked at me like I'd just fallen off a turnip truck, and she goes, oh no, honey, that's Rodeo Drive. You ain't gonna find nothing like that over there. No, you're not gonna find that. So,
I love it.
I think right after that, we pulled out a map of the stars' homes, and I said, "Look, you weren't on here. Can you draw in where your house is so we can?" And again, she looked at me like I was crazy. So
maybe she'll remember you now.
Probably, she's probably like, "Don't want to have that guy back again."
So who were some of your biggest influences, that just encouraged you to stay in the business? And
well, boy, that's too many to even list. I have so many have gone through the years, different program directors that were at the radio station, and some managers and different radio consultants, just lots of industry people who just taught me, and encouraged me.
yeah.
And and I learned a lot, and I also learned a lot from watching a lot of the old radio legends that came ahead of me. I was able to learn from them certain things like, how they treated people. And, there's a guy that's in the Country Radio Hall of Fame named Ralph Emery. And Ralph used to host a show on the Nashville network called Nashville Now. And he's a radio and he's even in the Country Music Hall of Fame. That's how big an influence he had on the industry. But Ralph was one of those people that when you got around him, you were the most important person in the room, and he made you feel that way. And I've tried to do that. I'm not that good at it like Ralph was, but I can't remember what your original question was now. So
well, I have a comment. Well, your influencers.
Yeah, Ralph was one of those.
I have to say, I don't think that's true, because I do feel like you have this kind of like magnetic personality. People want to be around you. You can go anywhere in San Antonio and there will be people that are, I won't say swarming you, but they will, you're so respected, in this community.
And I'm just glad anybody cares at all. No, it's really been a blessing. People are just so kind and nice. And, I'm probably really lucky in that respect.
Yeah, you have huge supporters here. So what do you find most challenging about what you do?
What do I find most challenging about what I do? Depends on which part of it. There's so many different parts, of what I do. There's like the on-air part and the radio show. Then there's the public part where you're doing different things. And I think probably what I find the most challenging, I don't have to do it often, but occasionally I have to do television. And, like if you're doing one of these, like co-hosting some show like Great Day SA, or, one of those shows where you're in a studio, and I go back and watch it later. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know what to do with my hands, and, and I'm fidgeting, and so I'm not used to do that. That's probably the most challenging thing for me, is getting into a medium that I'm not comfortable in. Radio, I just hide here in the studio at the house or the main studio, and nobody sees me.
Well, what's your favorite part of the job? So you said you're out. I mean, you get to attend awards. You get to be out in the public.
My favorite part of the job is people. I mean, and the cool part of this job is you meet people from every walk of life. You really do. I meet the average person like me, but then at the same time, I've met presidents and senators and famous actresses and actors, and of course all the music industry people, and you get to connect with them, know them a little bit, and that, to me, that's what I love the most, just the variety of people that you get to be around and get to know.
I feel the same way, just in doing this podcast. It's pretty new. I've been doing it only since October, but I have met so many incredible people and made friendships and have been so inspired by their stories. It's just, I see it being similar to what you do.
Yeah, it's definitely inspirational. I mean, and I also, I get to see, I work with some different organizations, primarily around the military organization called Military Warrior Support Foundation. I'm a supporter of Adaptavet here in San Antonio, which is an organization that, goes in and adapts homes for veterans of all eras. If they're having issues in their home where they can't get around, they just go in and they help them. And then I most recently was around Operation Triage, but they do something similar to that. And my friend Don Rackler, who runs John Wayne Service Company, Don had paid to completely rebuild this Vietnam veterans home over on the south side. The thing had all kinds of issues, and they just raised it and completely rebuilt him a state-of-the-art home right there in the same place, because that's the house he grew up in. And just to be around people like that, and that's inspiring. Those people are, and they don't do it, to wave the flag for look how great I am. They just do it because they're good people and they care about others, and they've been blessed and they want to bless other people.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's amazing. That is truly inspiring. Another gives me goosebumps. Do you wish that, is there something that you wish that you would have known when you started out in doing this?
I think I probably wish I'd have worked harder at it.
Really?
Maybe worked smarter at it. Maybe I could have achieved more. I had a little bit part in a movie one time with Roy Clark and Mel Tillis, and those guys were both, mid 70s at the time. And I remember talking to Roy, and I said, "What's your biggest regret looking back?" And he said that I didn't really work at it. He said, "I had a lot of success and I was just lucky." He said, "But I've always thought, man, if I would have worked harder at it, what could I have achieved?" There's a guy that was seemingly really, really successful, but yet he felt like, if I'd worked, and I kind of feel that way sometimes. If I'd have worked a little harder, maybe done something a little bit different, worked smarter, maybe I would have achieved more. But hey, I'm not complaining though. God's blessed me far beyond what I deserve. So.
Amen. Amen. So what was one of the wins that you were so happy about?
Wins. Wow. It depends on what you mean by wins.
In life in general.
I tell you, there's a moment that was kind of a win. In 2015, I was inducted into the Country Radio Hall of Fame in Nashville. And that, I'm going to unbutton, sorry. That was, for me, a win because my daughters did the induction.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of the industry people will have, a famous singer they befriended do that. But my daughters agreed to do it. And that's probably my most proud moment. I was more proud of my kids standing up and doing that than really I was of getting the award, I think.
Oh, that's incredible. I remember seeing some pictures of it. How did they feel? How did they feel about it?
Oh, I think they were proud and excited, but also they got a free trip to Nashville. So that made everything better. My mom was there as well. And I'm pretty sure my dad was looking down and very proud as well.
Oh. What do you want listeners to know about you and your path? And what if they want to start a journey? What if they want to venture into radio?
Well, there's two complicated questions there. What do I want them to know about me and my path? Man, I think just being consistent day in and day out at whatever you're going to do, and knowing there are going to be ups and downs. I've had plenty of things in my career that absolutely did not go my way. Plenty of bosses that were horrible and didn't have any use for me at all. And I could have packed it in and said, "The heck with this," but stuck it out, got past those, learned from those things, and continue to grow. So I think be consistent. If I'm looking at, somebody that wants to get into doing what we do, man, the industry has changed so much. It's different. And, in the days when I was coming up, you could start all night on the radio station. That's how I started KJ97. I worked all night on the weekend.
Oh, wow.
Midnight to 6 a.m. And that was my, but those jobs aren't available anymore. You know, everything is automated, and there's a lot of computer stuff that does just about everything. And so it's different. I tell people now, look, if you want to get interested in this business, you know, find a radio station, get on with their promo crew, get any job you can to get in the door and learn about the business to see if that's what you want to commit your time and your life to. You know, for me, it was just, I've looked at radio as a stage. You know, I always, you know, my dream when I was a kid was to be a musician, you know, and to sing country music and win awards and do all that kind of stuff. I just did it a different way. You know, the stage turned out to be radio, not a music stage. But I always tell people, I think that if you honor God and give him credit, he gives you the things that you desire, you know. And I never dreamed that I would, well, I did dream as a kid of winning those awards, but as a singer. But now I've got CMAs and ACM awards as a radio guy. So I think, you know, I think that's a cool little blessing that God gave me in my life.
That's incredible. You know, I want to say you do perform. I've seen you on stage playing the guitar, sometimes randomly. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, just, you know, I went through a divorce a few years ago, and kind of as some therapy for that, I started playing music a little bit more. I'd played back in the day. In fact, people would be surprised to know that I've performed with Martina McBride,
Wow.
Trisha Yearwood, Kenny Chesney, and probably a few others through back in the 90s. But yeah, I kind of started playing music again. Mario Flores, you know, I'd set in with him one time, and I said, "Hey, look, when I can get out, I'd love to come play. Don't want to get paid. I just want to, you know, you need an acoustic guitar, I'll play." And so I got to do that. He was gracious enough to let me do that. And so kind of used that as some therapy, you know, going through a low point in my life. So.
No. Oh yeah. Music is healing. I've had experiences going on the stage where I felt horrible. Once you get through first couple of songs, it's like, I don't know, you start feeling better, and it's happened, you know. So yeah, it's incredible the healing powers that it has, and yeah, it's incredible. I did have another question. So regarding also the music and the inspiration to play guitar, you have a brother that plays the guitar, and he actually tours, right?
Yeah, he's probably one of the best guitar players in the country. And he certainly is in a recording studio. He does a lot of sessions. But yeah, John Carroll, you know, go look him up, go to Spotify, search John Carroll. And he's got a song on there with a legendary guitarist named Brent Mason, who's played on 26 George Strait albums. I think.
Gosh.
Yeah. And probably everybody else's that you've heard in the last, you know, 30, 40 years. Brent's played on them. But yeah, he's a super guitar player. He's made his living his whole life that way, traveled the world with different artists, and he lives in Austin and just makes a living slinging guitar, as they say.
That's incredible. Well, that's incredible that both of you are in the music industry, and
yeah, it really is fun. You know, that we're both kind of involved in that. We grew up that way. My dad was a guitar player, you know, and he taught us at an early age to play guitar. And so we had that thing in our family. My dad was a huge Johnny Cash fan. When I was 15 years old and my brother was 6 years old, Dad took us to meet Johnny Cash.
Oh my God.
And so we get to meet him when we were kids. And so that's a big inspiration. I still, I'm a big Johnny Cash fan just because of that.
Oh, wow, that's incredible. So is there anything else that you would like to share with listeners?
I love my wife.
And she's gorgeous. Your wife is gorgeous.
She really is. I don't know what the heck she saw in me, but I'm glad she did. And she's a special woman. She's one of the smartest women I know, and intuitive, knows how to read people. When I'm going to make a decision about something, I go to her, and it can look really great on the surface. But if she says, I don't feel right about that, she's right. Almost always, she's a big part of my life, and I'm happy she is.
Well, where can listeners hear you if they want to hear you?
KJ97, 97.3 on regular terrestrial FM radio every afternoon from 3 to 7. You can also just pull up the iHeartRadio app, click on KJ97. I'll be right there.
Awesome.
And then you can find me on social media, Randy Carroll KJ on Instagram. And I have a Twitter account, but I don't use it because Twitter is just too toxic for me. And people, I don't know. That's where all the bomb throwers are on Twitter. That's just not me. Also on Facebook as well. You can catch me there.
Amazing. I have one more question for you.
Okay.
If you had one superpower, what would it be?
If I had one superpower, read minds.
Oh. That'd be
to know what people are thinking.
Oh, maybe you wouldn't always want to know. I don't know if I want to know sometimes.
No, you wouldn't always want to know. I don't know. I tend to probably think less of myself sometimes than other people do. So I might be surprised that people don't think as poorly of me as I thought they might. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, you are an incredible person, and I just wish you the best. And, for 10 more years, how many more years do you plan on? Are you going to retire? Or are you going to?
I don't have a plan to retire. To be honest with you, I am shocked sometimes that I am still relevant on the radio today. And even more shocking is, our audience is a lot younger than I am. And it's, and that always boggles my mind, that I personally have fans that are a lot younger than I am, but still can relate and connect. And I'm sure some of that is the fact that they grew up, their parents were a fan. And so they just kind of grandfathered into to the Randy Carroll world. So
yeah, that's the same for me. That's all, that's it. Randy Carroll.
It's funny. My wife's father was a big fan, and she was not. But she's a fan now. She married.
I hope so. Well, this has been so incredible, and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this, and can't wait to share it.
I'm happy to do it. I'm gonna go back downstairs. The electricians are working on stuff for me out there. So that's the excitement of Randy Carroll's world. We're gonna go watch the electricians work.
Well, thank you so much again. I appreciate it.
No, thank you, Bonnie. Have a great day.